Today we have Azure Officer Siegfried Wild here with us, and
Hey.
Lieutenant Lilium Wolcott. I'm sorry.
Lilium Wild.
I'm so sorry. Okay, we're redoing that.
Scrap it.
Oh God. Thank you for listening. This is the second episode of the Azure Infinitum podcast. Tonight we have Lilium Wolcott, Azure Lieutenant, and Azure Officer Siegfried Wild, who is with us today. This is the Azure Infinitum Master, Reika Fujishima, also known as Kazu Hikaru in real life from Runaround Network. Thanks for joining us tonight, guys.
Hello.
Lilium and Sieg here, is with us tonight to discuss a few things. We're going to be talking about the new Gunbreaker class in quite a bit of depth here. Lilium being the expert on that right now. Then, just before all of that, we're actually going to go over just a little bit about how Azure's been recently since our last episode, and we're going to talk about what's to look forward to. So, firstly, the last episode that we had, we were talking about our event finale, the final things we were preparing for the big Shadowbringers launch, and then we discussed, our upcoming Azure Day, which went extremely well, as always. We had a blast, 2 days of fun, lots of events, over 22-ish hours of events or so. It was something. Did you guys have fun?
I did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I did.
We had tried some new things this time. We also had our Goodbye Stormblood party, which was really nice, and folks took turns telling the little bit to everybody who attended, what Azure meant to them, or what Stormblood meant to them, or what the game means to them. It was a nice time, and we had a whole day kind of dedicated to Stormblood style events, jumping off Stormblood areas in our darts game that we play, or we had our parades as usual, and picked up a whole bunch of awesome new recruits. And shout out to you guys if you're listening who just joined recently. Welcome to Azure again.
Welcome.
Yep. And
hello.
So we are now 2 weeks? Yeah, we're a little over 2 weeks into Shadowbringers. And tomorrow is the big launch of the Eden Raids. You guys looking forward to that?
Yes, I really am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm a little slow this time around, but I am looking forward to my first time in.
I mean, it is only the very, very first day, but like Sieg here's been working on lots of stuff and busy. I've been busy too, and Lilium, you were pumping out the levels early there.
Yes. Slowed down a little on the combat jobs, but in exchange, I have all crafters and gatherers at 80.
Very nice.
That was basically as soon as I logged into when I fell asleep for 3 days. Fisher was just a casual 7 hours while I was on Netflix, but it was. Actually, it wasn't too bad, actually. Yeah. Just levs, and I still had plenty of spare, and I made a good amount of gil off the leftover materials I had.
Yeah, we've seen a few folks just kind of discard sleep and go crazy and level tons. And I know you were the first Gunbreaker that I saw at 80, and then even at 70, I think. I mean, it was like I said, you were really slamming those levels.
I did a lot of prepping for that, actually. they're still in this Discord, I believe. I want to give a shout out to Sayane. They posted a really cool guide on how to prep some challenge logs. So you could, all you had to do when you logged in was one roulette, one guild heist, just comp somebody, and that was a ton of XP right there. Then I took advantage of the fact that the daily reset isn't till 8 a.m. PST.
Right.
So technically, I still had Thursdays roulettes to do, and I managed to get all those with about 1 or 2 hours to spare, and everything reset on at 8 a.m.
You had your challenge logs like set and ready, right?
Challenge log set and ready. I did all my roulettes, did them again at 8 o'clock.
Prepared.
Because it was considered a brand new day. I did my beast tribes, did my hunts. About 14 hours later, I had 70 Gunbreaker.
Yeah, that's impressive.
I didn't have to do a lot of dungeons either. I think I did Siren Song a couple times, helping some people with Dancer. Did a couple Doma Castles. I think I did maybe one Caster Mabani or two. But
gotcha.
It wasn't bad. Queue times weren't bad either, except I had an hour-long wait for Alliance, but breezing through Circus Tower with a bunch of dancers in about 12 minutes was worth it to me.
Yeah, it's a nice-looking job, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more here soon. But speaking of tomorrow, tomorrow is the very first Azure Eden Tuesdays. So with the launch of the new Eden raids, we're going to have a group that is on very, very early in the morning here, which is actually just a few hours from now, from the time that we're recording this. We're going to get on, smash that content, learn as much as we can about it in the morning, and whoever's there, whether leaders and members and whatnot, we are going to do what we can and try to get a hand on it, understand it as much as possible, and get ready for that 4:30 PST, 7:30 EST gathering time happening tomorrow evening or afternoon if you're in the West. We're going to be doing, we're assuming it's going to be 4 as usual, 4 raids. I'm going to be going through all 4, doing clears, and it's okay to watch your cutscenes, so don't worry about that. Especially since we're all doing this for the first time. You don't have to come with it pre-cleared, because the point of this is to be getting folks clears. But if you've already cleared it in the morning, you can also come back for loot, or just to help and support, to be active and be with your FC mates, and maybe continue learning the content, since it's very, very, very new. We're not sure what to expect. We've been taking a look at like all the FanFest and the Letter from the Producer stuff that they've shown, which is the Eden that we know from Final Fantasy VIII, which is you could actually play 8 and still not really understand it. Like, Eden doesn't have hardly any lore in the series, which is another reason why I think they might have picked it, because 14 has kind of become this thing that has kind of flushed out a lot of things that haven't had a lot of spotlight. Like Alexander, for example, was kind of just a summon and didn't have a whole lot of story, maybe 1 or 2 games, but not much more than a cutscene and some, maybe a scene here or a scene there, or a summon there and a summon there. But now he's got like this big story. Well, here's Eden. Eden's coming onto the scene. We're going to find out what that's about. There's a new character designed by Tetsuna Nomura that's supposed to be part of that story. Looking forward to that. It's going to be really nice. The story and the raid, like I said, we don't really know what to expect. New gear, yes. New gear. As far as eye levels go, I think we were assuming 420, like, as a to get in. I think it was.
I'm predicting 425 because
425.
I'm guessing it's 425 because the weathered gear we get, what is it? 430.
Yeah.
430. And the dungeon drop accessories are 430 as well.
Okay.
And I'm thinking back to Stormblood when our gear
just
was
like
290.
Analyzing that pattern that they've done.
Yeah. So Stormblood's gear when we got it was 290, and the requirement to go in a Delta Scape was 295.
Okay, yeah. So definitely get those jobs to 80, and get your class gear. Try to get a little bit of Runkin gear to boost yourself if you can. We're thinking that just about everybody who's 80 who wants to go should be able to make it in without too much problems. Higher eye level the better, of course, but try not to stress too much. But definitely make sure you've got some, maybe an extra piece or two.
Just a quick note here too. If like a lot of the classes are still fairly new and they've been changed quite a bit, so if anybody does have any questions about their class or need a bit of a upkeep on it, by any means, please let us know and we can do what we can for it.
Definitely let us know. Between all of us leaders, it's not just me, Lilium, and Sieg. I'm sure many of the council and many scouts even would probably agree with this. A lot of us, between all of us, we have seen and done a lot in the game, and I know a lot of us are still new to learning these new changes. But we're really more than open and willing to help you if you've got questions about if you're listening right now and you've got questions about your job, or what's good, what's not good, or why is this materia better than this materia. I see that question coming up a lot. Just all sorts of different things. We can we can help out. As always, definitely reach out to the leadership and the scouts if you're listening and you need some help. But tomorrow is going to be really interesting. I'm expecting some new awesome music. Maybe we'll hear some fresh tunes from Soken. The raid music is usually pretty good. I mean, I always look forward to it. And we're just going to be, going to get down and dirty with those raids and check that out tomorrow. That means that now that our Tuesday raid day is back, that means that we're going to be doing Sunday loot finishers again. Same time, subject to change though, so just keep an eye on announcements. But the first one will, since we've been advertising it, will for sure be Sundays at 4:30 EST or PST. Sorry, 4:30 PST, 7:30 EST. So if you can't make it tomorrow, don't despair. You have another chance on Sunday, and we're going to keep this up weekly. So this is going to run. Yeah. This is going to run for a while. We run these 8-man raids on Tuesdays when the 24-mans either aren't out yet or they're not, they're not in season. So until Dark Apocalypse, which is the next 24-man raids, we're going to be doing this for a while. So probably about 3 or 4 months of these weekly ones. And then we're still going to probably have loot finishers going at that. Loot finisher means that if you didn't make it on Tuesday, and the reason we choose Tuesday so much is because that's the first day of the reset, right? So, if you didn't make it on Tuesday, it's not a convenient time for you, whatnot, you do have another shot on Sunday. So if you can't make either, well, you can, if you really need help or you need a clear or something, you can contact any of us in the council. We'll be glad to help with clears. We like with all of our events, we try to fit them at the time that works for the majority. We know that a lot of people are in either, we have people in different countries. We also have folks who work during that time, and we've experimented for many years with what works best. And sometimes if we just move it by an hour or two up or down, it throws so many people off, and it just trust us. So we're keeping to our original times, 4:30 gathering. 5 p.m. start time PST, but maps is going to be the same as well. And that's coming back on the 1st. Looking forward to that too. So raid's going to be fun tomorrow. Since Azure Day, a lot of us got ready for the big early access, and what's really awesome is how many relic wielders we had. Did you guys get your relics?
Yeah, not maxed out. I got to the end of Pyros, but
okay.
I unfortunately I got the Animus one. I worked I had an unfavorable work schedule, which should be changing soon. When it came to events, I'd be at work until 7:30 or 9, and I never really got to participate in the Eureka's past Animus, unfortunately.
Oh, well,
I just want to add a quick note on loot finishers.
Sure.
So what that means for you guys is, if you didn't get your loot, by all means, come and join us, and we're going to be running each one as long as somebody needs something. However, that does not mean if you are looking for a specific piece, we are not going to run it until you get that specific piece. If loot starts to hit the ground, we are moving on. Because we don't want, if all 8 people need loot and all 8 people want one item that drops once per thing, we're not going to run it.
Belt.
Yeah, so basically it's just like another run of what our weekly is, which is, you know, a straight 1 through 4, unless, you know, a second one needs to be done or something, maybe, you know, depending on the party and the folks hosting it, you know. But yeah, it's not to be done. The loot finishers on Sundays is to give you another shot at what our event would normally unlock for you. So the way some of you listening might remember in the past how we actually started running the raids, the 8-man raids, twice a piece, because, you know, there's 4 items that usually drop, and so 4 would get it, and then we'd run it again for the other 4. We don't do that right at the beginning of the new 8-man the new 8-man raids dropping, because you know, usually they're time consuming. We're all new to it, and they are kind of hard, and we're not geared, you know, we're barely geared at the beginning, so it is really time consuming. If we actually did that in the past, running 8-mans twice actually took I think like 4 hours or something or more. So we're trying to keep it to a couple, you know, 2 to 3 hours max. If it takes that long, it might not even take that long. We don't know. It's all a new frontier tomorrow. So, but that's typically how we are doing it. So you're encouraged. All members are encouraged to, you know, if you don't get something tomorrow, and you know, you're all encouraged to come back on Sunday, or, you know, if you can, do it during the week and you want to ask in the FC for other people to go with you, or you didn't get your clear tomorrow and you want to get your clear another time, ask leadership, ask scouts, ask in the FC, and stay vocal. Even if somebody doesn't answer right away, like, try again. So we all try to
even if you do have loot, we can always use the help from friends too, usually.
Yeah, definitely. So with early access to start, what was really nice to see, because so many folks have been running through Shadowbringers and such, and I just want to quickly mention before we talk about our impressions of it and what's coming up for Azure. What's really nice is that our 16-month-long Eureka project finally came to an end with the week before Azure Day, which was about a week and a half before Shadowbringers launch. We had we don't have a total like estimate. We did have a relic user screenshot, which is really nice. And what is cool is that a lot of people actually benefited in some way, even if they only got one step done with us, or they did all the steps with us. But our 16-month Eureka project was our way of having Azure, for the first time, being able to work on that many relics together, because in the past, you know, there were individual steps that everybody was at different steps, and there were steps this time too, but in a way they were still, even with how unfriendly Pagos was to grouping and some of the other content was with grouping, like, we still kind of found a way each week, and we turned it in. You know, we started with this 100 and something, you know, expedition, with like, 149 people or whatever fit into Eureka, and then we'd go in with, like, I think when we started we went in with like 60 or 70 people at the very beginning, and we just had these big groups. Yeah, like big large scale assaults against these NMs, and then we get to Pagos and we figure out, like, oh, okay, so now we really got to focus more on, like, separating parties, and we found out how to utilize that bunny fate, and we were able to do challenge logs, and then and so on and so forth. We did adapt really well, and I'm really proud of everybody who took part. Everybody helped host, and I just want to say thank you to all of our event hosts, because our old calendar that we've kind of been running for a long time was retired and came to an end, and now a new one is in the works. So Eureka geared a lot of people. Those who had their relics were able to take them in all the way up to like 78, 79, level 79, 78. Before actually having to stop and change gear. So that was really cool. That was one nice boost. And then we have this awesome 6 month long project of charging our special crafted grade 3 buffs. That's allowing us an extra 15% every day buff for the entire FC, which is really nice, because if you know the math like we do, like, you would know that some of you might know, it takes about 6, you can only get every 6 days you can charge 2 buffs, right? So that actually gives you 2 of these a week, which means if you're really on it, you would get 2, 4, 6, 8. So you'd get 8 a month. We're running 60 days straight of it. That means you're actually getting what would that be, like 2 months worth of extra EXP from the FC within each week, or something like that. Or you're getting like a month and half a week's worth in 1 week. So 1 whole month is almost equivalent to like 4 months of EXP in these 2 months that we're doing it. So, or no, wait, or 8, was that be 8 months? Anyway, getting a little confused here, but you get the idea. Where we've got just a crap load of EXP going on right now. Food buffs are up. That means your food is lasting longer. That means if you keep eating, or you eat at the Azure house, because we got lots of free food down there, you are getting an 18% buff throughout as long as you eat and are in the FC. It's 24 hours of EXP, and then food as long as it lasts. So that's 2 big things right there. So if you actually think about it, the rate in which people are leveling and getting through stuff and not having to stop and change gear, the ones that had their relics, like that is like a big boost. And what's really nice is how far we are in the rankings right now. We've actually placed into the top 10 worldwide weekly rankings. That's incredible. So thank you all for that. We are very high in, I think we're on the top of Midgard still. We're really high, or like 3rd in all the Aether FCs, which I just have to say, like, the weekly fluctuates massively. The monthly is a lot slower. Monthly is a representation of who held on the longest through the month as a rank. And to me, that's like more of the real rank. And then the weekly fluctuates. But the weekly's still really nice, especially if you're in the top, like, something of the weekly in the worldwide. So both of those awesome rankings. You can all go check that out on lodestone.com in the free company section. Like I always say at meetings, our rankings are not really like our focus per se, but we do like to share them because it inspires morale, and it kind of gives everybody an idea how well we're actually doing in activity, and it's pretty dang high. Just think about it. There's 70-something servers. That's 70-something #1 FCs, and if we're outperforming about 7/8 of that, that's something. That really is something. So hats off to all of you, to our council, our members, our scouts, everybody who's active and being awesome, helping each other. It's really the harmony that Azure is all about, and I'm very proud that we're at that point. So, and we've stayed at that point actually. So, glad that everything's going so smooth. So, what is after? Sorry, what'd you say? See?
I said thank you, guys.
Yeah. So what's after Azure Eden Tuesdays? Well, the only thing coming up next would be Treasure Thursdays. That's on the 1st. Maps is supposed to take place in the dungeons of, I don't know if this is correct, but Lihigya, I think it's called. That's the big fairy castle that's up. Well, it didn't used to belong to the fairies, but that's the one that, the big one that Titania's in, and up in Ilmig. So supposedly we're exploring those dungeons. Yeah. Right now, the portals, though, they're not out, They're not out until the end of the month, and our Treasure Thursdays is the first Thursday that's like a day or two after they actually come out, and they're coming out alongside Savage and the Phantasmagoria tomes. So
I actually want to throw out, just because portals are not open, you can still do maps.
Exactly.
I've been gathering Zorn skin maps. That's the equivalent to the Gazelle skins we had back in Stormblood. And currently, to my knowledge, the big item that drops from there is the indigo cloth, which is used for the summer indigo shirt.
And you can get that now.
Cloth. You can get that now.
Nice.
I ran some maps with Brooke, Aurora, Aaron, and Kazu on Saturday night, and the drop rate for that cloth is way better than you think.
Really?
Yeah, so I did 5 maps, and I managed to get 3 cloths, which was enough to get the t-shirt. Last I checked, that cloth sells for 2.5 million.
Oh, wow.
And the t-shirt, last Katsu told me, he sold his for 10 million.
Oh, my goodness.
So, you get lucky enough for that cloth, you can make yourself a nice glamour item. There's pants too, but let's be honest, we want the t-shirt. The t-shirt's better.
I haven't even seen what that looks like yet.
I have it on my crafting set right now. I'll have to show you sometime.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're trying to make some gil off people that want that cloth badly, or if you're just looking to run maps for fun, give it a shot. But I will say again, portals are not open though.
Yeah. So those portals are coming. Those portals are coming at the end of the month, and Treasure Thursday is gonna be right there at the start of that, the first Thursday. So that's August 1st. Gathering time is 3:30 PST, 6:30 EST. That's 3 maps per person that you can bring. We have a real nice system. If you've never joined for Treasure Thursdays before, you know, we group up and we link our maps, and if you don't know how to link, we'll teach you. It's real easy. And we go out and kind of systematically, one by one, do individual rounds where everybody does a map before we move on to the next round, and then we do 3 rounds, up to 3 rounds, depending on how many maps are brought. We may have a few extras too, usually for folks that, you know, might have not been able to get one. You can also buy them on the market board or gather them with an 80 gatherer, 80 gathering nodes. That's the
Or know who to poke.
What's that? Oh, know who to poke.
Or know who to poke.
Yeah. But that's the Time Worn Zonure skin, right?
Zonure skins? I need to look at the name again.
That's kind of fun to say, but
it starts with a Z.
Yeah, it's the Z
It's not
one.
a glider skin. It's not the glider skins, guys. Don't buy the glider skins.
And you can tell by looking at the description, it actually says that you need a full party. So, but yeah.
Also, I want to say I don't know if you said this, but you can. It is 3 maps we do for our events, and you can in fact have all 3 of them on you. You can have one open, already deciphered. You can have one in your bag. You can have one in your chocobo saddle bag as well.
Yep. Yeah. So keeping one deciphered is like that's what keeps it in your key items, and then, as Lilium said, like saddlebag and inventory. So, yeah, you can start collecting those now because in a couple weeks it's map time. And map time is going to happen every week. It's starting on the 1st. So
It's gonna be awesome.
I believe this one's frogs this time. No rainbow Dumbo. We got rainbow frogs.
Oh man, we got rainbow Frogger.
So make sure you get your frog costumes, guys.
We should have a Treasure Thursdays where we just all go in with the frog glamour. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Just tons of frogs going. Or oh man, imagine the
frog
24
glamour is
frogs.
hilarious. I like it.
Yeah.
So maps, if you don't know, maps are really, really good, really lucrative for things like getting gil, getting mats, glamours, minions, furnishings, all sorts of stuff. Most of the time there is either some sort of round system or door system with 7 floors, and some of them that give you like a jackpot at the end. Lots of gil or rare orchestrion rolls. Sometimes there's special maps that you get that lead to other maps. And those maps, well, the maps. Okay, confused here. The maps will give you a time-worn map that gives you a location to a special map area, I should say. And those, I don't know if they're doing that this time, but we'll see. They most likely are. Other than that, though, that's about it for maps, but it's a good time. It's a really good time. So if you haven't come to maps before, definitely come. If you want to level that chocobo, bring your chocobo, because chocobo buffs are up on map day, and you level it pretty fast. Chocobos are also very, very helpful, too. Melting the mobs and all that, which we're going to need every bit of firepower that we can get, so you might even want to bring some of those Silcus buds with you to boost your chocobo's attack while you're out. So let's see. What'd you have, Sieg?
I was just going to say, I hope you guys all enjoy our new events that are coming out soon. But I myself have to take off here.
Okay.
So I will leave you all with Reika and Lilium. And have fun with the discussion on everybody's first impressions of the new content and Gunbreaker.
Thank you, Sieg.
Take care.
Take care, guys.
All right. So let's move on to talking about early access. Personally, I think it was pretty smooth.
Really smooth. I'm surprised it was not this shit show we had back in Stormblood. We did have a DDoS like around 1 p.m. PST, but it wasn't for a long, about an hour.
Was that day 1?
That was like the only real day 1,
Day 1, yeah.
And I had just told Rowan, I'm like, hey, this has been a good early access. Oh, never mind. But all things considered, it was a good early access.
I mean, it's pretty hard for them to like have something this big happen without like something little happening, and that's the something little that I don't mind as much as like Rob on X. I mean, I'd rather take a hour or two or whatever of DDoS than a Rob on X. But also the duty finder broke for like 30 minutes.
Oh yes, so
yeah,
this was day 2.
Yeah,
I remember I was
queuing
into Homemonster Switch with Seika, Ryan, and Bird. No, Seika, Ryan, and crap, I don't remember the last person. I just remember it wasn't Bird though, because Seika was on DPS. No, Kill-Sandra. I remember now. There we go. I didn't forget you. Anyways, yeah, we keep in mind full person group, 4 people, and we still had to wait 30 minutes. And this even applied to Trust. You had to wait 30 minutes for Trust too, but that was the only other pickup I saw.
Yeah. Right when that happened, when the duty finder broke on day 2, I was in Ilmig just unlocking the dungeon Donmeg, and was doing it with Trust because I tried to do all the I didn't try. I did all the dungeons with Trust just to experience that, and like I was like, wait a second, isn't this the point of Trust to like get a go in right away, or one of the points at least of Trust, and then people were talking and they're like, oh man, I can't believe like these Trusts aren't working, and then we all realized what was going on is universally everybody's duty finder was almost said duder finder, everybody's duty finder was jacked up. So but that got fixed relatively quickly.
Yeah, it did. Speaking of Trust, did you get that title from doing your Trusted Friend? I think it was like,
what do you got to do to get that?
I think it was like get your Trust to level 80 or something. I think I checked.
I don't think I did that because I don't think I got them to level 80. I don't know. I mean, I did one run of each dungeon with them through the story, so I didn't do anything else special with my Trust yet. So far, the Trust system, not bad. Not bad. I mean, I've seen them die. I've seen them stand in things. It seems to be a little slower than having a human party in some instances. But then you're also you're not getting the potential for weirdos and stuff.
Yeah, I actually have not done Trust. I did most of my dungeons at
Okay.
I usually always had Bird and Ryan Rogers in my groups for dungeons.
Okay.
But I have not tried and Trust myself. I do plan on trying to level maybe Astro through Trust for title, and I just want to try it out, see how it is. I think I've heard that it takes a little bit longer because Trust allies don't use their AoEs.
Huh. You know what? I don't even remember. I don't think so. I know some of them are like happy to limit break like really fast.
LSA.
Yeah, specifically LSA. Yeah. but other than that though, I mean they're not bad. I mean it's better than what I experienced with Squadrons, but which is kind of what I feared it would be, just that over and over. But do they like banter a lot? Not really as much as it seemed like they were gonna. It seemed like you were gonna go in and like the NPCs would like talk a lot during the match, but it's not like.
Is the banter voice acted or is it just dialogue?
It's voice acted, like a little bit, just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, there's text and some voice, but the voice isn't as much as I actually thought it was going to be. But I mean, it gives you, at least gives you a little bit of feeling of like playing a single player.
A little immersion.
But, yeah, it was nice to actually, like, my first time seeing those places in those dungeons, to actually do it alongside the heroes that are supposed to be there too, instead of just okay, goodbye everybody, I'm gonna go join some of my real life comrades, and then as soon as the dungeon ends, hello scions, like now we're actually going in. It actually felt like going in with them as soon as we discovered those areas, and then doing it with them, and then because the characters are great. I mean, they're all really well written. It's the first time I think I've been into a whole entire cast like of characters, because they're all, my opinion is they're all really well done. Plus, talking to them in between and before or after quests, some of them have funny things to say. Also, for those listening, this is a big spoiler warning, just for those listening, because we are going to go a little bit into detail about the story, and we're kind of, this is a spoiler zone right here coming up. So you've been warned. Overall, early access was great. Not a lot of problems there. Got through launch. Launch happened. Not really any problems. Pretty smooth overall. But the story, holy crap, the story.
It was a really good story.
Oh my god, like I don't even know where to begin. Like
I might been the weakest candidate when it comes to like talking about the story, but I really do appreciate the work with it. I will say I really actually feel like your character has a purpose in the story right now, instead of like feeling like background furniture for a couple expansions. I'm like, hey, I'm here for something now.
Yeah, I mean, like I've felt I felt important, but like it's just here we are now realizing where the scope has now panned out enough to where we can see like the real idea of like this is what the Ashians are really trying to do. This is what they've been wanting. I mean, we had an idea before, but we know everything now, just about. Crazy. And then the Exarch, to me, the Exarch was really a really emotional point, just because like I did the Crystal Tower raid like back when it first came out, so it actually feels like a lot of time has passed since then. This was like 5 years ago, like 5-6 years ago when it came out.
5-6.
Yeah, like well, no, 6 was 2013. It came out. I think 2.1 was 2.1 was either Circus Tower or Labyrinth. I think 2.2 was Circus, but World of Darkness was somewhere. So we'll just say 2014. So it's 2019 now, 5 years ago roughly, and it's been that long since I have seen him in the tower. And wow, like after that much time, it did feel kind of nice to like see him again, because that to me, like I thought that was sad back then, and I kind of thought, oh, maybe we'll see him again one day, maybe we won't. Maybe that's like a throwback to some Final Fantasy lore about there being like a guardian of the Crystal Tower or something like that. That's how it happened, whatnot. Like just knowing like for sure once he was revealed, like that was an emotional moment to me. How he tries to like play it off like like he hey isn't it funny, like I used you, now I'm gonna absorb all the light and go off into the rift and die and stuff, and it was just like it was very bittersweet. And overall, like that, I think that's the moment when the hood flies off and you get to see who he is, and you also get to see the effects, of everything. Like, well, he's got double Allegan eyes, and the crystal's like eating his face, and like his even his hair is like turning gray. Like, yeah.
Question: what happened to his tail?
His tail is concealed under the robes. There was an NPC who even mentioned how like one time the wind moved or something, and they said they could swore it was almost a tail underneath the robe. There's an NPC who says that before he's revealed in the game.
I think I kind of bought into that meme where it just like crystallized and it broke off.
Oh my god! I didn't even think of that. Jeez. Oh man, now I've got mental images of God knows what. Like, well, if it happened to his tail, I really hope it didn't happen anywhere else.
Yeah.
So anyway, so oh God. Okay, so poor Exarch though. I mean, this guy, like, it's just I don't know. Like, to me, I feel like Emmett Selk is a great character too, and we'll talk about him in a second. But like Exarch feels like the character who did the most for you, just out of this whole thing, because he went in there, like he survived. He's in the future. He comes back, and if you do the twinning and you read the messages and you learn the background story behind that, you find out that like Biggs the third Biggs, like who's like I don't know, like the 16th president of Garland Ironworks, like later, like down the road, is the one that like the expedition to search the tower for whatever they could use, because they were facing their end of the world, and then they find him, and then they built their own Alexander to like shoot him back in time with. That was incredible. Like that's just being able to see that, like seeing the Tycoon boss and stuff, and like knowing that here's these guys that we befriended, and their organization kept going beyond our own time, and they were determined, and then they sent him back, and like it was just really neat, really nice. I love time travel stories. Yeah,
Time travel's interesting plot. Most part, I like it. Sometimes you just kind of have to not overthink it and just have fun with it.
Yeah, it was awesome. I could probably like continue to gush about that part, but it was just really cool. Like, and you know, like the writing for everything was great. Like just everything. I mean, like the look and the feel of everything. The music. Holy crap, the music.
OST is easily my favorite thing about Shadowbringers. There's a lot of variety. There's not a single piece of the music I despise, and I feel like everything's really fresh. It's not remixed a million times like Crimson Sunrise or Sunset. I think after hearing that so many times, I'm like, just end this expansion already.
Yeah, well,
but I like Crimson Sunrise, but don't give it to me 100 times.
Like Soken does have a way of mixing, like you know, having 2 or 3 themes, and then those 2 or 3 themes get mixed into everything. But like I can still see some. I can see some of that in Shadowbringers. But no, the variety though, the variety is just really nice. There's a lot of ambience in this one, and I feel like it really kind of connects you into that feeling. You know, you're in this other world that you're not really from, and it's just, I don't know, the feel, the look, the bleakness of that world when we first get to it. I mean, just yeah. And then you know, we weren't prepared for it to be that dark, you know, especially right off the bat. And then whew, that ending.
Yes, that ending.
Yeah.
Are we talking about like which part of the ending we're talking about? Are we talking about
all of
back
it?
Are we talking all of it?
All of it.
Yeah. Lord Xenos, he scared the Ascian off. He's like, I want my body back, and you're gonna give it to me.
Yeah, he's like got the fake echo.
And he kills his dad.
Yeah, kills his dad. He doesn't. I feel like he is like this new story point that is just this chaotic, you know, like entity now that he's just gonna be after us, chasing us down. He's like basically like, if you see him Bleach, he's kind of like a Kenpachi. Or maybe yeah, like we caught his attention when we killed him, I guess, and then now we're his best friend in a psychotic way. But Emmett Silk, very interesting bad guy, very well written villain. I mean, he's still a villain. I thought it was funny when he's like trying to hang out with you, be your friend.
I kind of try to trust him a bit, actually.
Yeah.
And Bayo had a really good point in the lore discussion that Emmett actually has a lot of depth to him. Like, I actually
really does.
Kind of feel bad for him. And
you're not alone.
He brought up this good point that he made the Ascians seem a lot more than like a Saturday morning cartoon villain.
Oh yeah, no, they you know, we know that they're Amarosians now, and that they had a civilization, they lost it, and sad things happened, and sad and bad things happened, and I mean they're humanized way more now than just, you know, these like haha evil mysterious hooded men that want to destroy everything. So really well, like really good writing on Square's part, and like there's a lot in the lore too that they pulled from. If any of you are curious, Google the Ascians and look up the Barheim passage and how the ancient war of the Espers went and stuff. There's a lot about that, and it's really interesting how their masks are the Esper sigils and stuff. Probably this podcast could become a lot longer if I delve into that lore, though. But Emmett, though, man, there's a lot of debate going on whether we actually like freed him or not, as if he was like tempered. But at the same time, even if he was tempered, he still, or even if he wasn't, I would think that he would be doing everything he could to get his people back too. So, and it's not just like the will of Zodiark and whatnot. Whether we're actually tempered or not by Hydaelyn, I can't say. I don't know. A lot of the times, like the way these blessings go in Final Fantasy is like it's really just like the power to do what we're doing and whatnot. I mean, there is the whole free will part. I don't know. Those listening, let us know what you guys think about these things, because there's a lot of interesting thoughts on these subjects. You know, are we tempered? Are we not tempered? Did we free Emmett Selk? Or was he a slave or not? It's This could go any way. Then there's
so actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I had a question.
no. Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe this is a dumb lore question, and it just flew over my head going through MSQ. But what's the connection of Emmett being Hades?
That caught me really off guard. I have no idea, to be honest with you, because the only thing I can think of, like, and this is like not even really a connection, but in the ancient Barheim passage talks about how Emmett Selk was he gained the nickname Angel of Light because he defeated Zalera, the Death Seraph, and Zalera was like I don't know, there's something that I guess it doesn't really look the same as Hades, but like it just gives me this like Hades vibe. I don't know, it just might just be the way it looks. But he defeated Zalera, took his power, and gained the sigil of Zalera. That's what you see in his mask, and that's the ancient like lore for that.
And you know, Hades, he hasn't really been super big in the other Final Fantasy games. He was a summon in 7, and was a super boss in 9. And
that was like it.
If you beat Ozma in 9, you should not have a problem with Hades.
Yeah, it really surprised me. He's just like, all right, let's do this. I'm Hades, and I'm like, whoa, like really? Like, I think.
Yeah, that was a surprise to me.
Yeah, I really have no idea where that came from. It just seemed like he pulled it out of a hat and just like, okay, I'll use this card, and you know, like he's like a duelist pulling out a trump card or something. You know,
yeah,
just like a Yu-Gi-Oh villain or something.
But don't mean to like take away from the lore subject, but I want to say that Hades, easier in Shinryu, in my opinion, but I think it has a lot of potential to be very troublesome once we get the EX version.
Yeah.
Already in his fight, it kind of reminds me of Sephiroth, where he has these moves, but you don't have these obvious AoE markers. You just kind of have to tell.
You got to know where to run.
You got to know where to be, and I can see a lot of potential for that in Extreme when that comes around.
Potential chaos.
And the OST is fantastic.
Oh, I was just gonna say that too. Man, it's so
fantastic. Cool. Like, I will go help people with Hades just to go listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that same feeling as well. Like, oh yay, you get to help and listen to the cool music again. Like, oh, it's so cool.
Like when you listen to it again on YouTube, it doesn't have the same effect, but when you do it in game, it's pumping.
And then you look around in the background in that fight, and you see like what looks like souls floating around and stuff. Like, I don't know if you noticed that.
I did.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, yeah, man, all those Ashian masks too. Like, oh, it's so good. So, if you're listening, let us know. Like, you know, you can comment on YouTube or you can comment anywhere that this is posted. Just like let us know what your favorite parts of Shadowbringers was, because we have so many. We love so much about it. Like, just from the characters to the learning about Emmett and the Exarch and his story and how sad that was, and just everything. Just tell us. We want to know, because we just want to gush about it, and we haven't had like a true like spoiler chat yet in Azure with a lot of people. So maybe we'll have to do that sometime.
And speaking kind of like towards the end of the game, can I say Tempest is such a beautiful zone?
Yeah, that city.
The ocean part's like, Then I remember someone told me at Aether Currents, and someone was like, hey, just don't get the Aether Currents, just wait till you progress further in MSQ. And I'm glad I did. When you saw that city, I was like, oh my god.
The Phantom City. Because it's interesting, like, he created that with his magic because, you know, that was his home. And the real, like, ruins of it are what you see scattered around that's not so great looking inside the rocks and stuff. But, like, just, it's interesting now. So, like, he created that. Now I guess that's just going to be there. I guess it just gets to stay under the ocean now. Just this Phantom City with Phantom residents in it. But, man, like, yeah, like, the only real thing I think left of the real Amarod is just, like, a few chunks of the buildings over by the Sahagan, or the Ondo, I guess we call them. And then when you get to see the Phantom City, it's just, like, it's a really nice view. There's some, like, really good potential for screenshots. I was actually standing on the top
I took
of
one immediately.
Oh, yeah, same here, especially when I got flight. Oh, that was so fun. And there was one building, one specific skyscraper I stood on top of, and I was standing on the edge of it, like looking down on everything, and I was just like, this would be perfect for like a Batman cosplay.
I thought you were gonna say darts.
Oh, no. Throughout the whole expansion, I have been looking at darts areas for Azure. If you're listening and you haven't played darts with us, darts is a game we play on Azure Day. It's where we get a bunch of people towards a very specific ledge, like something that we can look down and see some sort of target, or we make a target by using someone with like a glowing mount or something, and we all try to jump at that target as much as we can. The best example being the White Brim Tower, which is at White Brim, which is in Kurthis Central Highlands. If you go to the top of that tower over White Brim, and then try it, seriously, if you haven't seen this, go to the top of the tower, look down, look at the fire pit below, and you're going to see like a hole in this roof that's made over the fire pit. It looks like a perfect bullseye, and that's the first one that we ever discovered, and ever since then we've been doing this crazy darts game where we jump off the ledge, we try to land in that whatever we call the bullseye. So for White Brim, it's the fire pit. If you get in the hole, like, you progress automatically because that is a bullseye, and usually there's only enough space to jump, like, to get on the rim of that hole usually, and we have rules like, no moving after jumping, etc. So we're like playing darts with our bodies. So it's funny to see when you come out to an Azure Day, you'll see a darts game, you'll see handfuls of bodies just flying through the air, flinging themselves at targets, and it's a good time. We usually rotate and go through we had what we called Groundsword, the Falling Song War, where we did Heavensward zones. Then we have Storm Darts, which is Stormblood. Now we got some really good locations in Shadowbringers. I mean, there's like 5 off the top of my head I can think of right now that are just perfect.
I saw a couple people bring it up in chat, went in early access, and I didn't get to that part of the game till like late that first day, and I immediately knew what people were talking about. The area in Lakeland for darts.
Ooh,
Second, eighth, right?
Yes. There's a couple. Oh my God, yeah. Okay, you're talking about the Austral Imperative or something, like whatever it's called. Man, that spot is great. I tested that one a couple times. That one's really good. There is one that's in the Tempest, actually, underground, where there's like a little geyser that shoots you back up. I've actually played with it. You can actually jump down, try to hit that geyser as a bullseye, and it'll shoot you right back up to the top. So if anybody actually hits a bullseye, it'll prove it that it shot them back up or something like that. I don't know. Still got to tweak it out, and tweak it and test it, actually, more so with a group of people. But there is a couple other ones that are perfect for our darts games, but we'll give those a test and figure that out at some point. Let's see. So, did you have any other favorite parts, William? Anything, not just story, but...
So, I really like the dungeons. I don't feel like I'd get tired of these. I think the bosses are fun. They're interesting.
How about that
pretty memorable
guy?
to me. The bucket guy.
Yeah, the second boss of the Malik as well. That guy with the buckets.
The construct.
Yeah, he's got
like
buckets for hands and bucket nipples that shoot water. That made me crack up when I saw that. Yeah, continue.
Dungeons are really nice. The trial fights are really good. Especially,
oh yeah,
I like Titania on EX. Innocence on EX. I'm not a big fan right now, but I need to give it more. I need to give it more time. It's chaotic.
Is it? I haven't tried that one. I've tried Titania X.
Titania, I have a lot of fun with it, but Innocence, I just need more practice with it. But it's really chaotic, and if you're playing like Black Mage like I have been, it may be a little frustrating. But it's not a hard fight. It's just, like I said, a lot can go wrong real quick. And one fear I had with trials, because we saw this with Innocence and Hades, where you have a first form, then a second. I was a little worried to see that, because that's actually kind of a complaint amongst the raiders and endgame content, where two forms, because that makes a really long fight.
I see.
like with X Death
I was just
and
about to say
God of
X-Death,
Kafka,
yeah.
and Omega, MNF, and the final form. That's close to a 20-minute fight. That's like Ultimate Coils right there. They're cool, but I'm kind of worried about the issue. But they addressed it with Innocence EX already, where you don't have to fight Fatso. You go straight to
You just go straight to Innocence?
You go straight to
okay.
You go, yeah. So
gotcha.
So I wouldn't mind they do it.
No Jabba the Hutt X.
Yeah, no Jabba the Hutt X. I wouldn't mind if they did with Hades, where you had that those two forms, but as long as it feels like a quick transition, like you saw Osazaku, where you fought her bird form for like maybe about 2 minutes into the fight, then you fight her human form for the rest of it. If it was something like that, I wouldn't mind.
So if Hades X comes out, I wonder what people are going to call it.
Who knows? I'm more interested in the title because we have like Minstrel's Ballad, Domain, and we have all these that rhyme with each other, like Thornton's Reign, Shenryu's Domain, Tsukiyomi's Pain. You have Nidhogg ruining, you have Nidhogg's Rage.
Oh, Nidhogg ruins it. That's funny though. Like I didn't even put that together that those rhyme. So let's see. So we're running a little bit short here on time. Let's go ahead and move forward. No, it's okay. It's okay. Let's just let's start talking about one of the 2 new jobs. One that you happen to be very, 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 very good at and have spent a lot of time with. Let's talk about Gunbreaker.
Gunbreaker. So I speculated for months on how Gunbreaker would play out with these like their I feel like Dark Knight's role kind of really shined this expansion. I didn't really feel like it really fit anywhere before, like its Stormblood iteration. But Gunbreaker, I'm gonna say they nailed it. It feels different to play compared to all 3 of the tanks. It plays a lot more like a DPS. It plays a lot more like a DPS job, but it doesn't forego its tanking capabilities for style and being fast.
Okay.
Warrior is able to dish out the damage in big slow hits. It's Fell Cleaves, while Gunbreaker is just there to straight up slice you up. And like I said, it doesn't forego its defensive capabilities, and even has a mini Paladin toolkit to his disposal.
Nice. That sounds pretty nice.
The job may feel weird first starting at 60. It kind of feels like another tank where it's like, okay, I did combo 1, then I can do my Gnashing Fang combo, then I'm just gonna use my burst strikes, then okay, I have this again. It feels switching between like Goring Blade to Royal Authority. But once you get continuation, that's where the job really finds a place. Continuation's an ability that follows up moves after each hit in your Gnashing Fang combo, and I feel like it really emulates on like how you'd perform Squall's Limit Break in this game.
Wow, that's neat.
It's really fluid.
I like the sound of that. I haven't really given it a shot yet, but that sounds really nice.
On paper, it sounded really worrisome because I was like, "Oh, it sounds like Dark Arts again." But like, looking at it and actually trying it, it doesn't feel like that at all.
Wow.
I have this weird thing with Dark Arts back in Stormblood where I felt like you used it not to gain something, but you didn't use it to gain something. You used it to not lose something. While
I see.
Where continuation feels like you're using it to really gain something.
Okay.
And I say it kind of feels more like a DPS because it actually reminds me a bit of Stormblood's Machinist. Stormblood's Machinist had a lot of cooldowns that were on multiples of 15. You got 15, 30, 40. I think it maybe had a 45 second, 60 seconds. Okay. And all lined up with Wildfire. I don't think there was a 45 second actually, but it was all divisibles of like 60.
Oh, okay.
And it all lined up with Wildfire. And Machinist's one of its main goals was to fit as many skills as possible into Wildfire for your damage, because that was just one of your best moves. While Gunbreaker kind of does this with its no mercy windows, it also doesn't have, or even to a lesser degree, its cons. It had to Machina's cramming all of its skills into Wildfire.
Okay.
You know, you had stuff to do with, like, maybe boss will go away during. Oh, you can detonate your Wildfire now, but it was an issue before.
Yeah.
Sometimes the enemy just straight up might be dead, and you just wasted your Wildfire.
Okay.
A lot of people paired it up with Rapid Fire, and personally, I'm not a big fan of playing with a 1.5 GCD and weaving skills in.
Okay.
Latency wise, just due to latency, and if you're like slowing it, you'll clip into your GCD, and that's just less Wildfire damage. I just rather not have latency just dictate that. While Gunbreaker kind of does this with its no mercy windows, it's equivalent to Fight or Flight you would see on Paladin. I believe it's just kind of the same bonus sets, 20% damage for 20 seconds for with a 60-second cooldown.
Okay.
But it's not the job's identity. Like where I felt like Machina's identity was Wildfire. Gunbreaker has a lot more than just that.
Okay.
So kind of comparing Gunbreaker to the other tanks, it has that aggressiveness the warrior does, just in a different manner.
I see.
And like I said, the Paladin toolkit as well. And I feel like playing Dark Knight now, there's a lot of weaving and double weaving you have to do. You have a lot of off-global cooldowns to play with. And that's why I like in jobs.
That's
like using
nice, yeah.
I like using my off-global cooldowns. It makes the job feel busier, but I don't like it to the point where it's like I'm staring at my hotbar the entire fight, and I'm not paying attention to mechanics or what's going on.
Okay. So, overall... yeah.
Something that kind of sets Gunbreaker a little apart is, every job has its 2 combos.
Right.
Or except Dark Knight only just has its 1 now.
Yeah.
Gunbreaker can actually start its Gnashing Fang combo without interrupting its main combo that gives it cartridges for your powder gauge. So what you can do is you can go into like Keen Edge into Brutal Shell. Then you can start your Gnashing Fang combo, and by the time you're finishing it, you still can use Solid Barrel to finish up your other combo.
Nice.
So there's a little cool death and like kind of a bit of a mini game. It's more so once you unlock a Bloodfest.
Okay.
And it kind of plays into
what level does that unlock at?
So Bloodfest?
Yeah.
76.
76. Okay.
Yeah. So that being said, I'm sorry, this is a little disjointed. I just have a lot on my mind for this job.
It's all right.
I'm really happy with it. I've been playing around with it, and I had some ideas about it at first when I was trying to like think about theory crafting. At first, I thought, okay, I don't want skill speed at all because this job does a lot of double weaving, and I just want to throw this out here. Sorry, jointed. This job does some double weaving into its no mercy windows, but you don't quite have to. You can just single weave if that feels better to you. Double weaving just feels better.
I gotcha. Okay.
Double weaving feels better to me because it keeps my skills aligned. Like Blasting Zone is on 30 while Bow Shock is used on 60. And every 2 Blasting Zones, I have my Bow Shock up.
Okay.
So I just want to throw it out there real quick.
Yeah.
If latency is a problem.
Okay.
Or you're just not comfortable double weaving your skills.
So would you say there's like you got a pretty good idea of like how the rotation goes right now, or?
Yes. So Back to what I was saying, I thought
Yeah.
maybe I would have wanted a lower skill speed playing this job. Back with Summoner, you had a low spell speed to double weave, and it also was for Bahamut Worm Waves as well. But playing around with Gunbreaker, one thing I found, there's one thing I was finding with a low skill speed that I wish I was able to pull off. It was in my opener, I'm able to get three. I have 3 burst strikes available, but I could only get 2 off under No Mercy. But when I was gearing up my Gunbreaker for 80, I hit a high skill speed. I'm like, I don't want this. Then playing with it, I was able to fit that extra skill in.
Oh, gotcha.
And I kind of play with it. I got a new Gunblade. It set me back, and I think I kind of found the sweet spot where I like my skill speed at.
Okay.
Just like not too fast, but enough I'm able to fit another skill in.
I see.
Yeah. But
okay.
I want to talk about Gunbreaker's defensive toolkit, because that's something that's very important to a tank. It's not just its offensive capabilities. It's how you defend yourself and how you provide for your party. Like I said, it has something very similar to a Paladin's toolkit. Every job gets their Rampart. Every job has their version of Sentinel. Paladin skill. That's on. Let me bring up my notes real quick.
Okay.
Every tank has their version of like Sentinel. Except Warriors just deals a little more damage if it's being hit by a physical attack.
Right.
Every tank now has like something they can give to another party member now. Paladins had intervention for a long time. For a while, not a long time. Intervention's really good.
Last expansion, at least.
Yeah. Intervention's really good. But Gunbreaker gets Heart of Stone, which gives 15% damage reduction to your target. And during your main combo, there is a skill called Brutal Shell that puts a shield on you.
Okay.
And if you have Brutal Shell active on you, you're able to apply that along with Heart of Stone.
Okay.
And that's on a 25-second cooldown. Lasts for 7 seconds. Camouflage, this is a skill I was not a fan of at first, but using it more and more, I actually really like it for trash mobs.
Okay.
It gives you 10% damage reduction and 50% parry chance.
Huh.
And when you're being hit by a lot of enemies and big dungeon pulls, that really adds up. But as something mitigating a tank buster, I kind of want to pair it with the Heart of Stone. But Heart of Stone's up often enough that you should be able to pair it up with Camouflage.
Okay.
And its last defensive skill, Super Bolide. So at first, actually no, it's not his last defensive skill. Heart of Light. Heart of Light is our answer for group mitigation. It's 10% magical damage reduction for the party. And back in the Media Tour build, this used to be something different. It was straight up 15% for all damage. It was, but it's been brought in line and for magic damage. It's the same as Dark Knight's Dark Missionary.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And if it was 15% damage for all damage reduction, that'd be nuts. You could just use that selfishly if you really needed to. So its last skill, Super Bolide. This is a skill I was not a fan of, but I've definitely grown to appreciate it a lot more. Super Bolide drops your health to 1 HP, but makes you impervious to most attacks like Hollow Ground.
Okay.
For 8 seconds, but has a shorter cooldown timer.
Okay.
Than Hollow Ground by a minute.
So that's basically the invuln for.
That's our invuln.
Okay.
So
nice.
At first, I was like, okay, this is a shittier Hollow Ground. This is a shittier Hollow Ground. That's a minute shorter on CD. If I really wanted to survive on 1 HP, I'd go use like Holmgang or something, but
Okay.
there's a couple cons looking at the other cheap death skills that the other tanks have. I won't. Tall Ground's fine, except as a long cooldown, but Tall Ground's busted. Let's be honest. Holmgang actually got.
What makes you say that?
Hollow Ground?
Yeah.
So, Hollow Ground's just the ultimate mechanic cheeser if you ever need it.
That's the Paladin's England skill, yeah.
So, in our Titania farms, there's you know the tether mechanic, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So with proper healing, cooldowns, and Hollow Ground, Ari is able to take all 6 tethers without a single party member having to take it from him. And we pulled the same thing off with Super Bolide as well.
I see.
Just not taking damage for 10 seconds is just really good.
Yeah.
But looking at the other cheat death skills, they've taken some hits, or just looking back on it, that it's just not as great. Like Holmgang was really good in Stormblood with a 3-minute cooldown, and made it that if you couldn't drop lower than binded to your target. They increased the cooldown by a minute, but
I see. I see.
You have full rain, but it lasts 6 seconds. In my opinion, I don't feel like. In my opinion, if you misuse Holmgang, you have less time to play with it. Like, say for example, you used it 3 seconds before like a tank buster, you drop to 1. You only have like an extra 3 seconds for your healer to get you back.
I see.
And
yeah, no, continue.
It's a minute longer cooldown. Holmgang's still good, but it's not as cheesy as it used to be. I feel like the damage. I feel like the impervious. I feel like the immunity is a lot better.
Okay. Well, overall, how do you feel as Gunbreaker stacks up against the other 3 tanks?
I think Gunbreaker is an excellent main and off tank.
Okay.
For main tanking, you're getting HP back through Brutal Shell, and you're getting a shield for yourself that helps some mitigation off auto attacks on bosses if you're main tanking.
Okay.
Also, you have Aurora. Aurora is our answer to Clemency and
okay, so it does have something
Equilibrium.
like that.
Yes. So Paladins is tied to an MP. It's allowed to spam it. And I just got DC from.
Oh, so did I. Oh, that's right. Maintenance time.
Anyways.
yeah, we just both look over, and our game is going into maintenance. So
Paladins is able to use their clemencies for healing. You can use it for other targets, but it's bound to your MP, and that's MP you could be using like on Holy Spirits, Holy Circles.
Yeah.
So there's a cost to it. Warriors is on a 60-second CD, but Gunbreaker's Aurora is a heal over time that heals for the same amount as Clemency and Equilibrium, and its duration. It won't save you from the brink of death, but it's a good way to keep your health in a really good spot.
I see. Wow. Well,
and you can give that to people too.
Thank you for going in, so far in depth.
There's more, but I don't want to run this too long.
Yeah. We are getting really close to, we're going for an hour and 12 minutes so far here. So, roughly, you want to quickly, just go over anything else that's really important to know about the job?
Gunbreaker, give it a chance to level 70. If it's one, I wouldn't recommend it as your first tank. I always still like to recommend Marauder or Gladiator, but Gunbreaker kind of re-taught me to properly cycle through my cooldowns.
Okay.
For example, actually, I want to throw this in here too for general tanking. For people that don't know, Arm's Length is actually a defensive cooldown. It's not just a knockback immunity. It applies slow on people that hit you when you have Arm's Length active, and I think they're slowed for 15 seconds. So they're attacking you a lot slower for 15 seconds. That's a lot of that's a lot less damage you're taking. So I like to use Arm's Length first, then I go into Heart of Stone, then I'll use Nebula, Heart of Stone again, then I'll go into Rampart, Heart of Stone again, then Camouflage. Just playing it again made me relearn how to properly recycle my cooldowns. It's something I just kind of gotten sloppy with for other tanks.
Yeah.
And trying to think. I think that's about it.
Okay. Well, you were in the works or planning to eventually write a guide for Gunbreaker, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that'll be something that'll come out on our site later on this year at some point. We have no real promise date for that right now. We got a lot in the works. We are working on the new Azure site. As been mentioned a couple times, a couple of company meetings. The new site is going to have a lot of interesting features that are coming out. It's going to be able to connect more of our members to games that they play, more connections and ways to connect to our branches, information on Azure branches that are coming, new branches that'll be coming as well, and more of a kind of an Azure social media type thing. Speaking of our social media, we do have our Facebook page where you can find Azure updates, news, calendar of everything that is in the near future, since they only let you post for so far in the future. You can follow all of those things. We post memes, community updates, sometimes screenshots, also episodes of the podcast like this when they are fresh and new. There's also the official Azure Facebook group too, which is almost like the like page, but it's also where you can post and share things too. We have our Steam group, which can always use more members. That's going to be very big when connecting people to our future PC Azure branches. And when I say Azure branches, I mean places that we are going to take this community into other games. Currently in Monster Hunter World, we are doing weekend hunt-a-thons in preparation for the Iceborne expansion. Not tons of activity, but we're seeing some people join up for some hunts, and eventually there'll be more. We don't have the PC group set up just yet for that, but the PS4 Monster Hunter World branch is our very, very first ever branch. That's kind of been a lot of experimenting when it comes to that, and just kind of seeing, we're doing a lot of testing, a lot of science right now, so so we just ask you bear with us on our branches. We're going to know what our next official one is and announce that in the near future, probably before the launch of the Azure site, which is coming right at the start of 2020. So in lieu of that, we are preparing a lot of things like our social media or Discord overhaul that happened a couple months ago, getting our Facebook page really active again. So if you're hearing this and you haven't liked the Facebook page yet and you're on there, please come check it out, like it, follow it. There's active stuff on there. Every day we have new posts. We also have the PS4 community for our PS4 players. You can find it by searching in your community section on your PS4 console. The PS4 community is a great place to share your screenshots. Find more we try to put events that are on there. I'll help you give get event reminders. You can also post events on there, like stuff that you're doing. If you want to hold any sort of farms or anything like that in Final Fantasy 14 or Monster Hunter World, or any branch that we start to work on or create, any games that people are playing, you can share. You can feel free to share there as well as the Facebook group. Our website right now is the current website, at least. It's basically still the place that you want to go to for things like our forums, contests, rules. All of that's going to be on there, and it's going to be remain through the launch of the new site that's coming. Still a few months away from that. We've got to get through the raids getting set, kind of everything getting comfortable where the new schedule is going to come out. Monstrous Mondays, Wondrous Wednesdays, those things are still postponed until announced. You could look forward to those coming back in the near future, but for some reasons we haven't announced it just yet. We're getting everything kind of smoothed out. With this new expansion launch, we just kind of had to focus on getting everybody cleared. All the leadership team and scouts are working their hardest to get through the content and then help everybody who's shouting out and needing help, wanting to do stuff together, just as much as possible. And then now we're smoothing out and getting to our new schedule that's going to be Azure Eden Tuesdays, and soon, after the 1st of August, Azure Eden Tuesdays and Treasure Thursdays returning. So it's going to be that for a while, and then by that time we're going to have some announcements on when Monstrous Mondays and Wondrous Wednesdays is coming back. So Sunday loot finishers too. Don't forget those. Also, if you're listening and you have listened to the end of this podcast, we're almost at the end here. I just want to thank you for sticking through with us and checking out our second ever episode of Azure Infinitum Podcast. Something else to look forward to that we did not mention earlier was our company meeting. That's happening this coming Saturday. That would be Saturday the 20th of July, July 20th. So we got 5 days until then. This company meeting is going to be our first company meeting actually, I should say Grand Assembly, because that's our new word for it now. Or Azure Grand Assembly. I don't really like to say meeting too much because the meeting makes it sound, like sort of a business meeting, and it's not so much a business meeting as it is where we all convene just to hear announcements from the council, and then we hear from the members and stuff like that. So it is a company meeting, but Grand Assembly is how we advertise it. So just in case you're seeing those posts, Azure Grand Assembly coming this Saturday, you know what it is. So we want to try to assemble as many as we can. It's where announcements gets announced for the first time ever before it goes out on any of our social media or any of our updates or summaries. Those who can't make it, we will still be posting a meeting log because it is still going to be done in text for the time being. We've had some feedback on company meetings being done as a recording. Not everybody uses Discord, so there's still a lot of people who attend that don't, and we're still able to get through all the text-based stuff within 2 hours. So we're going to still be doing that once a month for the foreseeable future. And like I said, like if you're new to Azure, definitely consider coming by on Saturday. That's going to be Saturday at 4 p.m. PST, 7 EST. And it'll be about 2 hours of just announcements from the council and hearing feedback from our members. It's a big live gathering. So we have a lot of ways of communicating in this community, but we still prefer to have at least one day a month dedicated to one big live gathering with as many people that can come. So definitely come support the FC, hear announcements. Just this podcast will fill you in. On only so much. Like we talked about a lot here. We got a really great breakdown of Gunbreaker from Lilium. Thank you, Lilium. And we talked about what's coming up and a little bit about how the end of last month went. So we want to leave you off excited and looking forward to what's coming in Azure. Later on this year, we're going to have some cool Dark Apocalypse raids. I like the way that sounds. 24-Man Fridays, Dark Apocalypse. But
Yorha, Dark Apocalypse.
Yorha, Dark Apocalypse.
Yorha, yes.
Yorha. Is it Yorha or is it my ha? No, that's terrible. I'm sorry. Anyway, terrible joke. Terrible. But no, yeah. Be excited. Look forward to it. There's a lot to come. We had a huge month last month. June was full of stuff. We went from our last PvP tournament to having a company meeting, and we had our scout summit for all the scouts at council. That's a real big meeting that we have. Ended with Azure Day and our early access launch party, then early access, and then all this Shadowbringers fun. So with Azure Eden Tuesdays starting up tomorrow and beginning every week with our loot finishers, to Treasure Thursdays and beyond. Next month we have Summer Festival, and there's going to be a lot more information about that coming out soon. And then later in the year, what comes after that? Well, 24-Man Fridays returns. We're going to have Old Raid October, and then Anniversary Month after that. And then it's Starlight Day. And that's going to finish out the year, and then we're going to see the end of the year having the big new Azure site launch. So still lots of excitement to come. I know the expansion's been a wild ride. Some of you might be just starting it. Many of you might be done and looking forward to raids tomorrow and what's to come. So thank you for joining, Lilium. It was nice to have you on.
No problem. Yeah, no problem.
The first episode was just myself, and then Officer Siegfried. Now we have a new council member here. Not new council member, but a new guest on the podcast. Who is a council member, Lilium Lieutenant. So, is there anything else you wanted to say at the end, Lilium? Shortly.
Yeah. If you want to talk, hit me up. You can find me at Lilium Wolcott in game. See me around the house or my house or somewhere. I don't know. Just send me a tell. If you need help with crafting or anything crafting related, I can help out as well. If you if you have any questions about Gunbreaker, there's still a good amount that I didn't get into about Gunbreaker, and also I wanted to mention that Living Dead on Dark Knight's completely awful for a cheat death skill. But if you're looking for any tips, rotation wise, opener wise, how to overcome certain scenarios, I can definitely help out. Still looking to try it out in more content as well. I do want to try it in Extreme sometime.
Get a ticket into raids tomorrow?
Depends. If there's too many tanks, I might not be able to. But,
yeah, that's one thing I was thinking of too.
I do have a Black Mage level just in case. But if I do, great. If I don't, no worries. There's always next time.
Alrighty, well, this has been episode 2 of Azure Infinitum podcast. Still mainly covering just Final Fantasy 14 for now. Who knows? Maybe in the future we'll be having a podcast for Azure podcasts that feature different things that we do, different games. We also are thinking about like this time we were very focused on talking about Gunbreaker and Shadowbringers content. We want to continue to kind of mix it up and talk about different things. So just give us some feedback because we are brand new at doing this for Azure. So we want to know what you guys think. What do you want us to talk about? Is there anything that you would like to hear the council discuss or debate, or maybe talk about some lore, maybe talk about the FC's history, maybe talk about more like content or guides, or some sort of like audio guide or whatnot? What can we do? What kind of content can we create that you guys are looking at listening to? What do you like to listen to the most? Just give us some ideas here. Other than that, though, this has been episode 2 of Azure Infinitum Podcast. Thank you for listening. This was Reika Fujishima, Kazushime Hikaru in real life, Master of Azure Infinitum, and Azure Lieutenant Lilium Wolcott. Signing off.
Peace.